Hello everyone, it's Rachel here at Clarty Hands Crafts. I thought that it had been a while since I've done a craft with me video, so this is what today's video is going to be. And I'm working in my current journal and I'm going to be adding some interactive elements throughout it. So the first tab that I've marked there is a flip out envelope. Okay, so I can take that off there, and I planned it to go on this page, but you know, if it is more suitable for somewhere else, then I might do that. Got some bits and pieces that I was going to use for it. So here is the envelope, whatever you want to call it. And I was thinking of doing a pink colour, and I'm just going to make sure that that's going to go okay. Yeah, I'm going to stick with keeping it in there. And then that's going to open out and there'll be a pocket in that side. So if I just pop that over to one side. And then I can get my inking mat out and start by inking the edges. So I've got this scrap of pink paper and, well, it's card actually. And I'm just going to cut that down to size, and I'm going to do it the lazy way just by marking it with my nail. 1, 2, and that'll just give us a slight border of the envelope. The only thing with marking it this way is it's quite difficult to see when you've got an overhead light where you've marked it. I'm sure those pieces will come in handy at a later date. There is a bit of a ripple to this pink card, but I'm hoping that by the time I've decorated it, it's not going to show too badly. I think it must have been through a Cricut machine at some point, or through a die cutting machine. You know, when it goes under the rollers and it gets a bit of a stretched out warping look to it. It's been so long since I've done a video where I'm talking live. Well, not live, but you know, talking in real time. And I've just started babbling, haven't I? Talking a load of nonsense, Rachel, but never mind. We'll get back into the swing of it eventually. Probably right at the end of the video. Okay. Let's try add a bit of this doily. I can't find my tiny scissors, which is annoying because I like them for jobs like this. So again, I'm doing this the lazy way by just sort of marking, following the edge of the underneath paper and trying to keep it straight, but I'm not overly worried if it's not the straightest. I have no idea where I just put that mark, so let's guess and try and make a 90-degree angle. How did I do? Hey, that's not bad. Okay, let's just put those over there because they'll be useful for decorating on some layered projects. And then a really light coating of glue on there. Oh, you could just get it all over the place if you want. So that's going to go on there. It was the Oscars last night, And Will Smith's had a bit of a do. Hasn't been on his best behaviour. I'm a big Will Smith fan, and I always have been. I've been like a super fan since I was a kid because I used to love The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air since I was about 8 years old. And yeah, so that was a bit of a shock to wake up to this morning when I seen that he'd done that. But we all have our moments, don't we, where we do something that we'd rather forget. Well, at least I think we all do. I know I do. Maybe not quite as dramatic as that. I don't go and fight random people and start hitting them. But, yeah. What are they like? Okay, that's worked quite nicely. I didn't know if the inking would be a bit too much, but it's worked how I had it in my mind. And then I was thinking maybe I could layer some tracing paper underneath. I think I want a flat piece that's all crinkled. It's been crinkled on purpose, but let's see if I've got any flat. I've decided that I wanted a straight edge, not a straight edge. I wanted some smooth paper, some smooth tracing paper. But I want a torn but straight edge, if that makes sense. So I don't want it to be all rippled like this. So use this one. Probably isn't the best way of doing this. But you know what I'm like? Lacking in logic skills. Quite severely. That gives me some nice little pieces to work with later on. So the problem's going to be sticking it down, because what will happen is you will be able to see the glue underneath. So I'm wondering if I stick the frame on top first, and then we can glue on the underside where you can't see. And then I can add glue here and it won't show through, if you see what I mean. And I'm just going to put my ladies on as well, so then I can add an extra bit of glue. So I was going to add these paper dolls, Tim Holtz paper dolls. Just take the edge off those edges, the brightness rather off those edges with a little ink. That'll kind of add a bit of shading as well to it. They can be glued down in the middle. and then I can glue that into place. So just staying within those boundaries. So those of you that celebrate Mother's Day, I hope you had a lovely day. Oh, actually it's a different day in America, isn't it, that you celebrate? But if you're in the UK, and I'm guessing Ireland as well, I hope you had a nice Mother's Day. Some nice little flowers, I think we'll add those. Just gonna darken the edges a bit. Now the only brads that I've got left are really bright white. And actually no, they're quite creamy. So let's just do a little comparison, because when I was playing around earlier with what I might do, I decided on adding a small ivory bow to the centre, which looks quite nice, I think. Although it doesn't make a lot of sense. Or we can use that. Now that I'm seeing it, I'm quite liking the brad. So if I just stagger those petals like it would be on a real flower, even though this looks nothing like a real flower. And then split the pin. Good thing is that we can try this and undo it if we don't like it. And then I was just going to put it to one side. I think I like it there. Let's just go for it with the brad instead of the bow. Kind of wishing that I'd put some sort of lace down there behind. We might still be able to get it underneath, mightn't we? Because those edges aren't completely down. You watch, all this fiddling about and I'll get it under and I won't like it. I just kind of wanted something extra down the edge. Does that add anything? I don't know. I think it does. It adds another layer of interest. Right, let's cut that down to size. And then I'm going to put a tiny streak of glue down. And hopefully that'll be enough to hold it where I want it. Does that go any particular way? I think that's the right way up. Right, that took some concentration. So I'm just going to try and tack those little points down with a bit more glue. And hopefully it'll hold in place for the long run. So anyway, I was talking about Mother's Day, wasn't I? On Sunday, which was Mother's Day here, I started my own vegetable garden. It's something that I think I got the idea last year because I was reading The Children of the New Forest. And I thought, oh, isn't that lovely that they could just go into the forest and become self-sufficient. Of course, they were hunting as well in the forest. But one of the children had made his own little farm. So it put the idea into my mind I would like to grow my own vegetables. So I have started. I've never done any gardening before, so fingers crossed it goes to plan and I at least get some vegetables out of it. I'm not expecting miracles, but it'll be fun anyway, and it'll be a learning curve. And I think it should be quite satisfying to be eating food that I've made myself, actually created. Okay, so what I will do later on is just make something over the top of that and just use that as an element of layering. So I'm not worrying about the way that looks. And then we've got the envelope there, so that just makes that interesting. And then we've got a nice pocket to open out there. And then you could put journaling cards or, you know, whatever bits and bobs that you've got inside. So just make sure that if you're going to do this, make sure that you've got a small amount. I mean, I've got about 1 millimetre between the actual fold and the edge of the card, and that just means that it can open and close easily. And then I think we might, actually that's going to hold just fine by itself. But if you wanted to, then you could add some sort of catch. So if you glued that on one side, and then that piece would just hold that in place. But I think as it is, it's heavy enough that it's just going to be weighed down, and it's not going to be trying to open all the time. Okay, so we'll call that one done. What have I got here? Cabinet card flip out. Right, I'll save that one because it's going to be quite similar to the other. I had another one somewhere, so a tab there. I see you. A mini notebook. Ah, okay. So I was just going to create a kind of belly band at the top of this page. So using a scrap. To about there, I think, and we'll just top that. So the vegetables that I've planted are potatoes, an abundance of onions. I got this kit from the supermarket and it had so many onions in it, but also it had courgettes, broccoli, radish, beetroot, carrots, beans of some description. I can't remember what they were called, but they're there. So I'm excited for harvest time. Okay, I've got this bit of ribbon. I think my mum got me this out of a car boot sale kit. It was just something that she'd found packaged up and she purchased it for about 50p. There was a few different pieces of lace in, so she got me that. And then I realised that it would go nicely in this journal. I was thinking of ruffling it, but as you can see it's got this pen mark here. And I don't think that I've got enough to create the ruffle. Plus it's going to add bulk, so what I'm going to do is just cut it, and this might hurt some of your feelings when I'm cutting in the middle of the ribbon. But you know, needs must. And I'm sure I'll still be able to use those other pieces somewhere else, even with the purple stripe that they come with. Okay, I'm just going to take another tiny smidge off that end. And then that should be the perfect width, kind of. So shall we put that at the top, do you think? No, I'm going to put it in the middle because I think if we put it at the top, it's going to cause a problem when I put the notebook on. Just hoping that this glue isn't going to show through too badly. And as you can see, it really is. Oh no. I should have done some stitching to hide it. But it's a bit too late for that now. And then I'm just going to make a little notebook. And I'm not worrying too much. Just checking you're still recording because this camera has a habit of cutting out at really annoying moments. So I'm just going to fold these pieces in half. Not happy with that, I want it straighter. That's better. And then this will just be a little notepad. I'm not worrying about making it straight or anything, obviously. So the idea is that if you're carrying this notebook around, this journal around, then you've got a notepad to quickly sketch or write notes, basically. Anything that you might need to remember, and you can pull some out and stick it elsewhere in the journal as well, with it being coordinating papers. Let's just stick that extra tracing paper in. Is that too terrible? To have it that rough? Maybe. I'm going to have that large one on the inside so that you get more of the layering effect. And then I just need to add a line of stitching. You can use staples if you wish. So I'm going to just stitch down this crease. Right, so as you can see, I've stitched that. I moved the more decorative paper to the top because I thought it would just create a bit more interest. I'm just going to lightly trim those threads. Bring the journal back in, and then this can go behind. Just find the centre to make it easier. I didn't measure, did I? It's something that I should have done. Oh, just fits. Look how perfect that is. The glue went up to about there. So that will just flip over, and then you can pull those out as you want them. Okay, so we're getting really quite thick in this journal now. I had intended to do 2 more things, but I think I'll leave them until the next video. So I will call that a day, and I shall see you again next time. Bye bye.